So Puerto Rico got hit with Hurricane Maria in 2017, I think, either last year or the year before. But 3,000 people were killed in Hurricane Maria, and a lot of folks are kind of interested. They were fascinated because it was like, why do we care about Puerto Rico? It's not like it's America. Well, it is America. They are a territory of America. Everybody born on Puerto Rico is an American citizen. They're essentially they're a state of America, but not in name. So they're essentially a state, not in, not officially, but formally they're a state. They're an American state.
Aloha. Aloha. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you.
So since Tulsi Gabbard was born in American Samoa, that's a U.S. territory which doesn't give American birthright citizenship. It's American soil. It's an American territory. The 14th Amendment does apply. The 14th Amendment says if you're born on U.S. soil, then you're an American, right? There's 3 requirements to become a president of the United States. You have to have lived in the U.S. for at least 14 years. You had to have been 35 years old, and you have to be a natural-born citizen. There's actually 4 things. You need to get elected, too, right? But to become the president, you have to have at least lived in the U.S. for 14 years and to be at least 35 years of age and be a natural-born citizen. So a natural-born citizen, there's debate about what it means, but I think it's clear. A natural-born citizen is a person that was born on U.S. soil. They didn't have to go through the naturalization process. By the virtue of being born on U.S. soil, they automatically got citizenship.
ISIS to try to overthrow the Syrian government. It is this regime change war that is driving this humanitarian crisis. We need to stop our support, stop this funding, stop funneling this funding through these other countries who, for their own interests, are trying to conduct this regime change in Syria to overthrow the government so that we can end this humanitarian crisis and allow the Syrian people in there.
So holy shit, can Tulsi Gabbard even become president? She was born in American Samoa, so she wasn't guaranteed birthright citizenship because of her American Samoanness. Even though it's American Samoa, they're technically not American citizens, just American nationals. And that does cut a lot of their power out. They can't vote, they can't run for office, they can't do a bunch of stuff. They can't serve on a jury, they can't apply for certain government jobs, they can't sponsor family members for immigration to the U.S., but they can pay taxes. They can pay all the taxes to the U.S. that they want. So American Samoans, technically, by whatever law, are nationals, but not citizens of the U.S. at birth. They are a U.S. territory. We got 16 U.S. territories, maybe 14, 2 are in dispute. Colombia claims 2 of them.
Aloha. In my past, I said and believed things that were wrong. And worse, they were very hurtful to people in the LGBTQ community and to their loved ones.
But Obama was born in Hawaii. McCain was born on a military base in Panama. So he was considered a natural-born citizen because he was born on a military base. If you're born to a U.S. citizen and on U.S. soil, you're an American. So that is a natural-born citizen. McCain was considered a natural-born citizen, even though technically he wasn't born in these 50 nifty United States. So Tulsi Gabbard isn't guaranteed birthright citizenship because she was born in American Samoa, but she is a citizen because both of her parents are citizens. So her mother, Carol Gabbard, she's an Indianian. So she's a Hoosier. So Tulsi Gabbard's mother's a Hoosier, born in Indiana. Her father, who is now the state senator of Hawaii, a state senator, Mike Gabbard, he was born in American Samoa to a father who was a U.S. citizen. So she was born to one U.S. citizen and then born to another U.S. citizen that was born out of the 50 nifty United States.
Our country to begin to heal and to begin to to rebuild their own country.
But what about the piece of what's been motivating the U.S. policy, which is belief that Assad is a tyrant, that he's an oppressor of his people and he needs to be taken out in the name of democracy? And if the people want that, America acts on the side of those who want democracy and freedom.
Well, this is the problem, Chris, with U.S. policy of thinking that we should be the world's police and going out and taking out secular dictators as we did in Iraq and as we did.
So she has two direct connections to being a U.S. citizen. Her mother's a Hoosier. So Hoosier? Who's her daddy? Yeah, it's not clear. It's born in America, Samoa, to a father who was a U.S. citizen. So since Mike Gabbard was born in America, Samoa, he was an American citizen because of his American Samoanness. He's an American citizen because his father was an American citizen. Now, this just points to federal law. So Tulsi Gabbard is a citizen by federal law. It gets into a lot of specifics, but essentially, the natural-born citizen thing, her mother's a Hoosier. So if you're an American and you go out to Vietnam to fight for your country and you marry some Vietnamese person and then you have babies, you're not allowed to bring your spouse and your babies with, or they're not even Americans. Get the fuck out of here. If you're an American, your entire family should be protected. So, of course, it should be no questions whatsoever on that one. Her mother's a goddamned American.
It's wonderful when you think about it that embedded in the very bedrock of our nation is this recognition of free will, this intrinsic right of every one of us as individuals to worship God as one chooses, or to not worship at all, to adhere to a spiritual path of our choosing.
There's Puerto Rico, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Northern Mariana Islands guaranteed birthright citizenship. Puerto Rico, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Northern Mariana Islands. So those are 4 territories. If you're born in those territories, those are our states. They're our territories. They're citizens. So our land, our territory has a bunch of U.S. citizens, but that's not a state. Get the fuck out of here. It's a kind of state, even if we don't recognize it, even if they're not a star on our flag. What is the number 50 just too fucking perfect? 50 is just too perfect. You can't have 51 or 54 or 55. I like 100. 100's perfect. What's wrong with 100? There ain't nothing wrong with 100.
Many years ago, I apologized for my words and, more importantly, for the negative impact that they had. I sincerely repeat my apology today. I'm deeply sorry for having said them. My views have changed significantly since then, and my record in Congress over the last 6 years.
So she's not an American because she was born in America, Samoa, but I think it's bullshit. Technically she's an American Samoan, so she has to carry American everywhere she goes, so that has to be such a fucking slap in the face, right? I'm not an American Kentuckian. I was born in Kentucky, right? But I'm not an American Kentuckian. I'm not going around saying, hey, I'm an American Kentuckian. Well, I do, but... So she is an American citizen by federal law, by the requirements for the presidency, because both of her parents are U.S. citizens. Both of her parents are U.S. citizens. You might question somewhat her father because, again, he was born off of, not America, but he was born in America, Samoa, so he was born on U.S. territory, but he was born to a father who was a U.S. citizen. So if a woman or a man goes abroad and has a baby, that baby is a fucking citizen, goddammit. So she is an American citizen. A slam dunk. I was a little nervous about this. I'm like, oh shit, is she even allowed to run? Holy shit. But I think it's slam dunk because both of her parents are U.S. citizens at the time of her birth.
In Libya, and as we are doing now in Syria, in each of these actions, a few things have happened. One is the people on the ground there, their lives have gotten worse. Human suffering has increased. There has been more loss of life. We've seen more countries fail, and we've seen our enemy, terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, grow stronger in the process. This is why our focus must be on directly ending.
So by virtue of the 14th Amendment, every single American, all 329 million Americans are just American because they were born on this soil. They're not like the Chinese. They didn't have to pass a civil test to become a citizen. You didn't have to graduate. You didn't have to run a mile. You just were born. Hey, what did you do here? Hey, America, what did you do to become an American? Oh, you were born? Oh, well, what a great accomplishment. You should be very proud. You should actually spread that nationalism all over the goddamn world.
Or to no spiritual path at all. No one can make that decision for another person. It is our duty to guard and protect the right of all people to worship or not worship according to their conscience. This is the nature of love. That every person has the freedom to choose to give our heart and give our life to God or not. Because you can't force someone to love God. You can't force someone to love anyone.
So, technically, I think the American Samoa people have a winning case to say that they're already citizens. All of our territories should just be given citizenship. Why the fuck not? We conquered them, but we didn't give them citizenship. We put our name, we stamped America right on their faces, and then we said, nope, you can't serve on a jury. Nope, you can't run for office. Or you can't even vote. We don't even want you to vote. But we got America on our name. Well, that's your problem, not ours.
6 years reflects what is in my heart. A strong and ongoing commitment to fighting for LGBTQ rights. Now, I know that LGBTQ people still struggle. They're still facing discrimination.
So Tulsi Gabbard has a winning argument. Tulsi Gabbard has a winning argument when it comes to the 14th Amendment. She has a winning argument just like the American Samoan people do, but she has more citizenship because both of her parents were citizens. Both of her parents. Her mother was born in Indiana. Her mother was born in Indiana. You're telling me an American woman goes to Canada and has a baby? That baby's not an American? Of course it is. You can go to anywhere. You can go to goddamn Pluto. I mean, if you've been an American, you're born here, you're an American, right? She was born in Indiana. I don't know how long she lived here. And that's another thing. Tulsi Gabbard has been in America, Hawaii, for the last 35 years. Tulsi Gabbard also fought in the Iraq War. Tulsi Gabbard has been outspoken. Tulsi Gabbard is a representative in the U.S. House of Congress. Tulsi Gabbard is a super American. If Tulsi Gabbard is an American, well, not many people are.
Honor this inherent freedom of all people that is given to us by God. So-called religious terrorism is born from an exclusivist ideology that says my faith is the only legitimate faith, and that everyone who does not believe as I believe is inferior and must be converted, enslaved, or killed.
Still facing abuse and still fear that hard-won rights are going to be taken away by people who hold views like I used to. That cannot happen, because every American deserves to be treated equally by their fellow Americans and under the law. I will continue to fight for LGBTQ people.
The reactionaries always try to delegitimize the presidency, right? This whole fucking Russia bullshit is to go after Trump, just like Obama being born in Kenya was to go after Obama. Obama was born in Hawaii, so there's no question there. McCain, there was some question because he was born on a military base in Panama, so is that a natural-born citizen? And yeah, that is. If you're born on one of our 900 military bases in 150 countries, if you're born in one of our U.S. territories, if you're born on the soil of one of the 50 nifty United States, you are an American. That is what makes you an American. So even if you ignore all the legal arguments, ultimately, once you get elected, the American people chose you. So if you were born in Kenya, if you were an agent by the Russians, the American people picked you. So maybe the American people want a fucking agent from Russia. Maybe the American people want a Kenyan president.
This counterproductive regime change war that we have been fueling, and taking that money that we've been pouring directly into helping these terrorist groups in their effort to overthrow the government, and putting it towards helping people like the Kurds, groups like the Kurds, who have actually been our strongest ally and partner on the ground in defeating ISIS, the group that actually poses a threat to us.
So what I'm saying on that is, once Tulsi Gabbard gets elected president, there's not going to be any fucking question about this shit. There's no question about it. Now, there's a question, but if you look into it, there is no fucking question. It's a slam dunk. She's an American citizen because her mother was an American citizen and her father was an American citizen, and she was born on American soil, on American territory.
One or any being. The Bible states, anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love.
So she's American as fuck. She's a super American, right, with her accomplishments. But where was she born? What soil was she born on? From what kind of people? What parents? She was born of American citizens. She was born on American soil. She got birthright citizenship by being virtue of being a child of an American mother and father.
Life to God or not? Because you can't force someone to love God. You can't force someone to love anyone. One who does not love does not know God, because God is love.